put your hands together for the late morning program with your host, Namras.
All right. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Gaurnatraj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Namras Prabhu.
Jai, nice to have you here on the podcast.
You don't know how happy I am to be here.
Great. So just for our viewers, this is episode 20, I believe. I've done 20 now. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
And Gaurnatraj Prabhu is from Las Vegas. He serves in Las Vegas. And yesterday he came to our Hare Krishna temple and he gave a class. And he talked about his new book. And he talked about fasting and juicing and being in the mode of goodness. And I was really inspired and impressed by your talk. So I said, hey, why don't you come on the podcast? And you were free today, so we made it happen. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really happy.
I'm honored to be here, and thank you once again for inviting.
Yes, sure. So tell us a little bit about how you got into spiritual life. I know you are, you're a yoga teacher. You're a temple. Someone said you're a temple president as well, or a manager rather. So tell us a little bit about your journey, before this and how you kind of got into it.
So the year 1999 was pretty significant. I was in third year of college in Manipal University in South India. I was doing my engineering. But my mind was somewhere else. I was interested in something that is permanent. So with all the machines that were there, I knew nothing's going to last permanent. Somehow the urge inside. And there was a 6-session Bhagavad Gita course in our college. And that attracted my attention, the topics. Who am I? Who is God? I said, somehow something told within me, this is it. This is the end of your search. And I attended those 6 days. But understanding the philosophy did inspire me. But the kirtan on the last day, that changed my heart.
Wow.
When I heard the kirtan, I was like, there was an explosion in the heart. And that day I danced. I was a break dancer.
Really?
In college, in school and college.
Wow.
And I used to lead groups into break dance. And believe it or not, my show was kept in the last, in every annual function, because people will wait till the end.
Oh, wow.
To see me dance. So I was kind of on the... But I was frustrated with that because I knew this is all kind of temporary.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was looking for something permanent. And the kirtan, so coming back to kirtan, the dance that we did, I said, this is the dance. And that day I gave up break dance. And then I started attending regular programs in the temple. And we were very lucky because Udupi Krishna temple was like 15 minutes away from our college. So we used to go there twice a week, lead kirtans in front of Udupi Krishna. And we had some very nice sannyasis who used to visit Udupi.
Okay.
Because it's a holy place.
Of course, yeah.
And I got a lot of good association. And in the year 2002, I became a brahmachari.
Okay.
And
which is a monk. Yeah.
So I joined the temple.
Okay.
And but I realized that there is a lot more to study. And I requested my spiritual master that I want to study higher. There is something more to study. So he was saying, figure it out. What do you really want to study? And I was Googling and I came across this postgraduate degree in yoga. Master's degree in yoga. And I saw it was called Department of Yogi. It was actually a Department of Yogic Science and Human Consciousness. The term attracted me. I said, this is it.
Wow.
It's a level 2. So, because when I was like a kid, we used to watch television, and one sentence used to attract me. The Life Insurance Corporation of India, their tagline was, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. So I carry what you lack and preserve what you have. So I felt maybe from last life, right? There was an attraction. And we were actually Brahmins, whatever. So, and when I did then my Maharaj said, please go ahead, do this post-graduation. He gave me his blessings. This took me through a beautiful journey, because whenever I heard from seniors or devotees speak about yoga or devotional life, and once I heard Radhanath Maharaj's class, and Maharaj said devotional service is 24 hours. So I was really wondering how it is. So because we are very young at that time.
Right.
And when I did this post-graduation, and that's when I came across that yogis eat in a certain way, we sleep in a certain way, all in the mode of goodness. And the foods that a yogi must have, a food that yogi should avoid. And interestingly, my professor used to make fun of me because I was a Hare Krishna. And he said, you guys have no control in what you eat.
That's so interesting.
Because I'll tell you, the day we do like a stomach cleanse, you drink salt water.
Yeah.
He always used to say, yoga is for the poor people because all you need is salt water. So the first time we did, we drink about 8 glasses of salt water on empty stomach.
Oh my gosh.
And you kind of vomit it out.
Yeah.
Lukewarm salt water. And it cleanses your whole gut, and you really feel light. And a lot of cough, sinus, all these things get solved. A lot of tomato skin came out that day when I vomited, kind of.
Really?
Yeah. And he said, oh, you must have had a Hare Krishna feast with tomato chutney. My professor was like, I said, how did you know? I know you guys. You guys are the best spiritually, but what you eat, I think is a little too heavy for your philosophy.
Oh my gosh. That's so interesting that you say that, because that part interests me so much about our diet.
Yes.
Anyway, continue. We can get to that.
Yeah. So then as we went on, I got onto a stage where we did cleansing every now and then. And there is a cleansing called Shanka Prakshalana. Shanka means like a conch.
Yes.
So you put water in one side of the conch and it comes out on the other side.
Right.
So from the mouth to the anus is
Right.
one full tube, so to speak.
Right.
It's one organ.
Right.
And a problem anywhere causes... Basically, yoga states that problem comes in our body when we have improper digestion and improper excretion. So from the mouth to anus is one straight tube that
Right.
needs to be kept clean.
Right.
So this Shanka Prakshalan is you drink salt water and you do a few asanas, and then the water enters your intestine and cleanses your intestine. So all the burnt pakodas, oil, everything that's sitting in your intestines that hasn't come out for. So it cleanses you so well. And believe it or not, in the yoga circles, people do this kind of cleansing and it brings them to a mode of goodness. Along with yoga nidra and relaxation, people have been able to give up coffee. People have been able to quit smoking because you really feel the body in the mode of goodness.
Right.
We did this regularly, and believe it or not, in the 4th semester that we were in practicing this yogic techniques, the only food that I ate was milk with ghee. Boiled milk with ghee, because we used to practice pranayam, deeper
Right.
pranayam. I could hold my breath for like 4 minutes.
What?
And I lost like 12 kilos in 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
So this was a very deep and practical experience of what mode of goodness feels like. And to practice it on a day-to-day basis, of course, we need to know it very deeply.
Right.
Because what you can do in college and what you live in a normal life or when you go for a retreat and come back, you need to know the balance.
Of course, yeah.
And when I realized this, and as a devotee in the temple, we know we have to eat vegetarian, we know we have to eat very healthy, but I found that most of us are a little confused about what really consists of a good healthy feast, what can you eat on a regular basis. And in India, say about 2009 2010, I used to travel many temples, Pune, Chopati, and we used to do yoga classes for the brahmacharis, the monks there,
Right.
devotees there, and my wife used to do sattvic cooking classes.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, many devotees said that if you write this book on healthy diet, many devotees said, we'll sponsor it.
Wow.
But somehow after that time, we came to America, and we went through our evolution in America, because the foods here, lifestyle here is totally different.
Right.
And when we moved to Las Vegas, we met a lot of yoga groups, kirtan groups, and they go to this detox retreats, and they are trying to dabble and experiment.
Mm-hmm.
But we realized that being devotees, we already know good cuisine, healthy cuisine. And having studied yoga and Ayurveda to a large degree, me and my wife, we realized that there is no authentic, or very few authentic books which devotees or the yoga scene, they could refer.
Right.
Furthermore, I went through a period a couple of years ago where my body was kind of very tight because of kind of stress-related things. And the best thing that got me back in shape was fasting.
Fasting.
And I watched the video, The Science of Fasting, on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah, and if you go to Amazon Prime, there's also a video on fasting. So then I realized there are millions of videos on fasting. But one professor, there's a 5-minute video somewhere in YouTube,
Right.
and he said that fasting can definitely give you a lot of benefits.
Mm.
It can reverse even cancer. Like 2 years ago, a Japanese scientist got a award for reversing cancer through fasting.
Really?
Yeah, Nobel Prize, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So but he adds a rider there. He said, if you do not eat properly, rather I would put it, if you do not eat in the mode of goodness, there are high chances the disease you got out of will relapse.
Oh, I see. Let me stop you there. When you talk about the mode of goodness, what do you mean? When you mean like in our personality as well as our food? Like, can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes. That's a good question. So, mode of goodness, if you see, in what attracted me, the definition of or the purpose of food by Srila Prabhupada in chapter 17, verse 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the purpose of food is to increase duration of life, to purify the mind, and aid bodily strength. So, whatever you look at as food, apart from the taste factor, does it fit this?
Can you say those things again? To increase the duration of life.
Ayusham,
Yeah.
and increase duration of life. Tejam, intelligence, purify the mind.
Right.
And third is aid bodily strength.
Wow. Strength.
Arogyam.
Arogyam. Okay.
This definition was, Prabhupada's every sentence is
Brilliant.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And when I looked at that, I realized there is much more to what we are supposed to eat.
Right.
And we see a lot of sannyasis having a restricted diet.
Yes. I remember that even as a kid, they would come over and they would have this, restriction, that I never understood why.
So, mode of goodness basically means, what does mode of goodness imply? It says, Sattvam Laghu Prakashakam. So, what is the quality of the mode of goodness? It is laghu, light, prakashakam. It fills you, illuminates you with knowledge, sattva guna. So, if you see the first restriction in the scripture, Upadeshamrita, atyahara, eating too much. So the first restriction is food. Whereas even the first item that needs to be right in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, yuktahara. Interestingly, I read this verse, Upadeshamrita, atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha laulyam cha shadbir bhakti vinashyati. In the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, there is a verse which says, atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha laulyam cha shadbir yoga vinashyati.
No way.
And the difference is the word bhakti and yoga.
What?
And I asked my spiritual master who copied who, because Rupa Goswami and the author of Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Swatmarama, they were from the same period.
Oh my God.
I mean, how can this be? So he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the Goswamis to give us the essence of all scriptures. So the principles of yoga, of right eating right, atyahara or yuktahara, and all these restrictions, they apply everywhere. Because yoga, the word, also means discipline. Although yoga means union, yoga also means discipline. So the karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga, the underlying factor is discipline.
Right.
And when we talk about bhakti yoga, the only way, like I discussed in yesterday's class, when you see Krishna, when you want to see God, Krishna in your heart, face to face, it's in the mode of pure goodness.
Right.
And if you read the third canto, chapter 26, verse 21, the second line, Prabhupada says, free from mode of passion and ignorance. So this includes our food, the food that we eat. And one of the things that I realized was in the yogic texts, there is a lot of emphasis on limited eating, not to eat too much.
Right.
Eat, that much that you can digest. Eat only that much that keeps you healthy. Shamsundar Prabhu, my astrology teacher from Bangalore, he's a Canadian proper disciple. He used to say, Subhanjaya is a good astrologer before lunch. So after lunch, don't give him your astrological data.
It affects you somehow.
Yes. So mode of goodness means where we eat just enough to keep ourselves active. Little quantities. And mitahara, for example, means in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, again he says, when you fill up half your belly with solid, quarter with water, means liquid kind of food, and quarter for air circulation. So what is half? It said the first big burp that you get, you got to stop.
Interesting. Someone's told me that the first big burp, you gotta stop. Every time I do it, after I burp, I just continue because I'm either hungry or my mind hasn't registered that I'm getting fuller, but I'm eating quickly.
Yes. So
that's the case for me at least.
It is said eating should be very relaxed, and we should meditate on the food going in. Also, the yogic food. If you see mode of goodness, in the yogic texts, it says it should be slightly sweet. Means not sugar.
Right.
Every vegetable has sugar and salt.
Right.
If you spice it lightly, just enough, it brings about a little bit of sweetness. And when the vegetable is cooked just right.
Right, yeah.
So Prabhupada says mode of passion means when you add too much chili, make it very spicy, because I can make the same khichdi, then I can add a little more chilies
Yeah.
and make it rajasic.
Oh yeah.
Add a little more oil and chili and make it tamasic.
Yeah.
So simple khichdi. So when you in yogic texts, khichdi means just rice and mung dal. That's it. Because when you cleanse, vomiting and all these saltwater things, you just eat these simple khichdis. And simpler your food, purer the mind. Remember the second purpose? The more complicated our food,
Yeah.
the more complicated thought.
Interesting.
Because
Do you mean like processed things or as complicated? Like what do you mean by complicated exactly?
see, when you cook food, once one devotee was telling this, and I found it very interesting that when there was a problem in the temple, devotees were kind of fighting with each other. He said, "Who's the cook?"
Interesting. Oh my god. That's so good.
Because when you cook, the cook puts in a lot of love.
Right, yeah. The consciousness of the cook is going in the prasad.
So, if you cook with love and you offer with love, that love, it serves the purpose of purifying the mind.
Right.
A Japanese scientist made this experiment, which made me understand this phenomenon a bit better. He took 2 glasses of water. This is all on YouTube, you can find it. And 1 glass of water, he spoke nice words to this water. Another glass of water, he abused it. And then he saw the crystalline formation. And when he saw the crystalline formation, the one where you spoke nice words, the water had nice crystals. The one where he had abused, there were, like uneven and bad crystals. So same happens within your body, because you also are water, right? 80% water.
Right.
Same happens when you cook the food. If you cook with love, imagine the crystalline formation.
Right. Wow.
And if you see yogis, and even if you see Michael Pollan, he wrote a book called Cooked. He said the best food is the one that you cook yourself with a lot of love.
Of course, yeah.
So, of course, we can make it, if we understand mode of goodness, every vegetable has its own flavor. When you add too much chili, too much spices, you are actually covering that.
Right.
When you add the right amount of spices, it comes out.
Yeah.
And you cook with love, the feelings go into that food. So there is so much in there. And of course, when we offer. But all of this can be experienced when we get to experience what is mode of goodness. And I was very fortunate that I got in touch with nice devotees like Yogi Charu and others who always emphasize mode of goodness. And he does fasting for like a month on water.
Right.
1 month, right? So I got this, I did that several times for a week. I went up to 13 days on just water.
Just water.
Just water. And I realized you cannot just start eating heavy the next day.
Right. I think
Yeah.
Gauravani just did that.
Oh, did that?
Did you see him recently?
No.
He looks very thin. And someone told me he had fasted for a long period of time. But anyways, continue, sorry.
So in our book, and I saw one very nice yogi or speaker, and he was giving scientific evidence. He said that if you follow Ekadasi, so the day before Ekadasi, the next day of Ekadashi, if we fast effectively 6 days a month, your chances of getting cancer are nil.
6 days a month.
Yeah, is a
Because
good-
Ekadashi, for those who don't know, it's every 11th day.
Yes.
So every 2 weeks, basically,
Yes.
devotees of Krishna, we fast from grains and beans for Ekadashi. So you're saying that the day before So the 10th, 11th, and 12th day.
Yes. And the more your body gets used to austerities, fasting, the more your mind becomes steady.
Right.
Because mode of goodness means a steady mind.
Right.
My astrology teacher told me there are 3 things needed for success: concentration of mind, persistent effort, and grace of God.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing is concentration of mind. When do you get concentration of mind? When it's in the mode of goodness.
Right.
So this is when you want to study deeply. So if you see, when people or sannyasis, sadhus, monks, when they perform austerities or they want to study something deeply or achieve something, there is a very strong restriction on diet.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of fast or just eat 1 time a day. And Kartik month, some people just eat fruits the whole month, a little bit, one
Wow.
time. They meditate. So in this way, fasting, because our body, mind, it is said the body is an extension of the mind. So the more you purify the body, the effect surfaces into your mind. And similarly, when you follow it up with proper activities of the mind, studying scripture, everything, and you reiterate your commitment, the same follows, the same goes back to your body. So it's a process back and forth.
Right.
So fasting is one of the most important austerities that can change our complete bodily structure. So that's why we realize that dry fasting is very tough on Ekadashi, I've seen, and many devotees who even did that.
Right. Meaning with no water.
With no water.
Right.
So with no water, when you do that, when you break fast the next day, we tend to eat a lot or something, so the body goes into a shock. So that's why in our book,
Yeah, please, let's see it.
we came up with these juices. So here we are. So my wife did a lot of research. She's the one who wrote this book, Sundari. So I'm very grateful to her.
Let's just see the title here. Food for the Soul, Diet of a Yogi. Sorry, yeah. So there's juices and other things in here.
Yes. So what we did, we realized that when we need to fast, when we fast, we have a strong urge to eat, either that day or the next day.
Totally. I make all my memes and jokes from Ekadashi based upon bread and grains and things like that, because we're always thinking about it on that day.
but if we realize the deep importance of really fasting for a long-term good health, so she realized, after research, that chia seeds are like a miracle.
Chia seeds.
Chia seeds. So if you soak them overnight,
Yeah.
and you add some kind of fruits and a little bit of lemon to that water, and you could make like a nice juice like we have here in these pictures.
Right.
So these are different fruits, other mixes that we came up with.
Wow.
Chia in Mayan means energy.
Oh, wow.
So it gives you enough energy to ward off hunger, and it cleanses the toxins that accumulate in your kidneys and others. So it hydrates you, energizes you, cleanses you. So it was like a miracle.
Wow.
So 1 week, 10 days when I practiced my second and third fast, so she devised these juices, and I could see effectively they reversed so many aches, pains, everything that I had.
Really?
Yeah, and I saw your post when you tagged me yesterday when Mataji was asking about irritable bowel syndrome.
Right.
And one of the best thing you could do is these juices. So first I would recommend the cleanse. So that's in my book, Krishna Yoga. So this, in this book is essentially, I have how the mind works pictorially. the whole thing, how the mind works according to the scriptures, the 5 types of thought processes, and it has some analogies on. Here you can see a little complicated. It took me 4 days to draw this.
Wow.
How the mind, ego, intelligence, body, all this works. So this is all from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Yogic scriptures, and how the 5 layers work within our body. The physical layer, Annamaya Kosha, the prana, the energy.
Right.
I was surprised to realize that what carries thought from the mind to the body is your breath.
Wow.
So that's why when the yogi stops breath, he stops
Thought.
That's
Oh
why,
my gosh, that's amazing.
That's why Prabhupada says this is a mechanical way. That's what Dhruva Maharaj did.
Right.
And in the end of my book, I have the example of Dhruva.
Yeah.
Because this is what Dhruva Maharaj did. He practiced austerities and he could suspend his breathing eventually. And when he did that, he stopped connection with the outside world. Your mind is in the region of the heart. It's molecular. It's really tiny, but it influences the whole body.
Wow.
It envelopes the whole body. I was very fortunate to learn this from His Grace Gopi Parandan Prabhu. He told me that the mind is just big enough to cover the soul. It's so atomic. But its influence is huge.
Of course, yeah.
So it's in the region of the heart. And one thing that really intrigued me, this answered the question. If you read the 6th chapter, and this is what I studied during my post-graduation of yoga, that when the yogi raises his airs, right, and he raises and brings it to the Brahmarandhra, this top, what we call the 10th door,
Right.
on top of the head, where we all devotees keep shikha.
Right.
Yeah. So this spot, it said the yogi can raise the airs. When it comes to the region of the heart, he says he can float the mind.
Wow.
Because the mind is connected via the prana to the gross body. And when he raises this prana, it kind of picks up the mind and the soul along the way and brings it here. And then he can meditate on wherever he wants to go. New York, New Jersey, I'm sorry. to the heavenly planets or Vaikuntha planets, he can go. But how is the subtle connection there? The prana, right? So this air, how it works, so I've explained in my book. So all these are very intricately connected. The food that you eat, if you cook it right, and that's why in this book we have, so these 2 books are complementary. I mean, not free, complementary means they complement each other.
Right, yeah.
People might think one is free with the other.
Right.
So anyway, when you go into a fast and you come out of a fast, the body needs to be gradual.
Yeah.
Usually what happens, even if we do a strict fast, then when you come out, you binge eat, you lose all the benefits.
There was one devotee when I was living in the ashram in New York. He had fasted for like 40 days. And he stopped his fast, and the first thing that he ate was donuts. He got so incredibly sick.
Yes, because the body goes into a state of shock. Yeah, good you told that, because that really is something we should not do.
Yeah.
So that's why in our book, what we did, we followed a series. So we have these juices for fast, and then you have these herbal teas during the fast, and how you come out is a series of smoothies, and followed by, we have sprouts, which is the lightest and the healthiest food.
Wow.
Ayurveda says don't eat simply raw foods. So what we did was slightly saute beans or sprouts and mix it with salad with some healthy dressing. So if you see this book like fenugreek balls, I was like, I never ate anything better than that.
Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah. So she worked on making foods that are lighter.
Right.
And it's a progressive thing. So we have soups in this. then followed by baked, no fried.
Oh, burgers, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the quinoa burger,
And then you have
falafel, chutney. Ooh, that
superfood
sounds
dressings,
great.
yeah. And then you have some rice and special dishes here in the end. And these are all regular things that we eat, but designed to be light.
So explain this. So it's fasting, but you're eating. But during the fast, you're taking like liquids.
Yes. So during the fast, you take these chia seed juices, basically. And if you really make up your mind, if you do this 3-day fasting, so when you break your fast, you have something little that day, but you can really continue with smoothies, So in the end, in our book, we have like a 7-day fasting plan.
Okay.
Where you can have different juices, teas. So we have kind of given you a schedule.
Oh, that's good.
And then a 8-day meal plan. So if you want to do a 15-day fast and getting into a fast and getting out of a fast.
That's 15 days.
Yeah. And that effectively resets your bodily cycle.
Wow.
That can reset your digestion and any major chronic problem that you might have can be completely overcome. So, in the sense, it can be brought under control. And then, mode of goodness helps you maintain that. Remember, passion is for starting something.
Right.
Goodness is for maintenance. So basically, it needs a little bit of, I would say, a little bit of a push to really fast or to eat limited. But then once you cleanse, fast, do all these things, and you experience mode of goodness, because I can talk about it, but when you really experience the cleansing, I'll tell you let's make it a little light.
Yeah.
I got married to my wife, and I just got out of college, 2 years out of college, and I had cold one day.
Yeah.
So I drank this salt water and I vomited it out, and all the cough came out, and my wife was like, yuck.
Who did I marry?
What is this? I said, yoga. Yogi cleansing. She's like, this is what you do. Bhakti yoga is so much better. I said, this is indirectly yoga.
Right.
Connected.
Yeah.
And she couldn't understand or take it. 6 months down the line, she got so much cold and she did not want to just drink some medicines.
Yeah.
I said, why don't you just try this vomiting once? just give it a try. And she did that.
Yeah.
And she said, wow, this is the best thing I ever did.
Really? Oh my God.
And now, as she said, now I'm going to recommend it to my devotee friends. So that, when you experience it, sometimes it may look a little like the cleanse, stomach cleanse, colon cleanse. It's one of the most, in America we see colon cancer.
Oh yeah.
Very common.
Because of the meat eating, right?
Because the digestion is so weak because of so many artificial ingredients,
right.
And your colon keeps getting toxic.
Oh gosh.
Even the foods that we buy in general, even vegetables, have so much pesticides and other things.
Yes.
They really remain in your system for a long, long time. That's why even if we eat vegetarian, when we get old, we have seen devotees or even others, they get cancer. Right?
Yeah.
So if we don't cleanse over a period of time, these chemicals, these toxins, they can create so much of problem within you. So the yogic cleanse, but followed by healthy eating.
Yes.
For example, when you do this cleanse, either the vomiting or the cleanse, so for
Shanka
prakshalana, colon cleanse.
Yes.
For 2 or 3 days, no spices. So you could either just drink these juices, or you could just eat khichdi, just rice and mung dal, nothing else, no salt.
No salt.
No salt, because you drink a lot of salt already.
Right.
And you let this, kind of seep into your system. You could put a little bit of ghee just to lubricate the body, or you could just add some coconut oil if you're a vegan,
Right.
so ahimsa ghee or vegan coconut oil. So in this way, the more you experience mode of goodness, and I've seen when you experience lightness, you are able to chant and read better. And in general, the term we use is meditation. You are able to sit longer without the craving
Right.
to just get up, walk. That's mode of passion.
Right.
So the whole goal was, in the yogic text, it says, if you are able to sit in one place in a proper asana, and I was surprised Prabhupada mentions swastika asana in 3rd canto, chapter 28. I think it's verse 2. I don't remember the verse number exactly in the purport. Srila Prabhupada says, if you're able to sit with the soles of your feet in between your thighs, with your back straight, that is the best position to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Wow.
And this is the first asana that we learn.
That's like a lotus. Right?
Not lotus. It's something like Buddha. If you've seen Buddha, the way he sits.
Yeah.
So that's, you put your left heel in the perineum and the right foot just into the in between the thigh and the calf.
Oh, okay.
Like just in between.
I see.
Sit with your back straight.
Wow.
And interestingly, Lord Shiva, in the book Shiva Samhita, which is a yogic book, he says if you sit with your back straight, he mentions that we have about 72,000 subtle nerves. I don't know how did he count that, but he knows. He's the creator, one of the creators. So
Right.
he says all your nerves get purified.
Wow.
And the mantra, when you chant, it really enters your system better.
Wow.
So it's basically, sattva guna is the way you eat, the way you sleep on time, and there is also yoga nidra, where you, before you sleep or as you lie down, you can meditate on all different parts of your body with breath meditation,
Right.
all the energy points, refresh, and you make a nice vow that I'm just taking this rest to refresh myself, reiterate your vows. So there is a whole process in which you can do everything in a mode of goodness. And when you wake up, you are so fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to share something very interesting that I experienced. So we did a 4-day retreat, and this was mostly new Western, nice ladies that we had. And it was a 4-day fasting retreat.
Okay.
The best part was when they fasted and when they heard more about the mode of goodness or fasting helps, we were only drinking these juices and they said we never felt hungry. Association, right?
Right.
And then on day 4, when the fasting was, there was fast and there was smoothies, that's it. On day 4, we did this yoga nidra, relaxing the whole body, and I showed them a picture of Paramatma. Paramatma, I said he's in your heart, and let's try to meditate on him. All of them woke up at the end of it. When I described him, they said we could visualize a blue boy in our heart.
Wow.
And they said we are so eager to fast again.
Oh my gosh.
So basically, when you practice it, when you see the result, what we say, right? Phalena parichayate.
Right.
By the fruit, you can gauge the result.
Right.
So if we restrict, so yoga is all about discipline, but we need to know. And fasting, eating right, exercise, Ayurveda gives you a whole lifestyle. And this is geared towards being in the mode of goodness. And that sentence where Srila Prabhupada says that mode of pure goodness means to completely or eliminate mode of passion and ignorance, right? And I realized from my own mistakes that when you fast you eat heavy, how much it affects you, how much it slows you down when you're heavy.
Right.
When you need to be light and meditative, how much eating heavy slows you down. So yogi is, like Prabhupada says, to become Krishna conscious, first we need to be conscious.
Yeah.
So today there is conscious eating, mindfulness. Krishna consciousness includes all that.
Right.
So a yogi is already at that platform. But I realized that all this philosophy, all this practice, if we can present it in a nice way so that not only are we benefited, but all the devotees are benefited, all the yogis are benefited. Because many of them try 1 week salad, different things. But here's a book where we have researched all different things and we have given you kind of a conclusion. Right? It's not just experimentation, but it's something which is tried.
Right.
And there were some devotees who wanted to lose weight. There were some devotees who had like autoimmune problems. It's not that we cured them, but they said by fasting, we could bring it to a level where we could maintain, where we could really kind of get some relief.
Right. When I went to the Ayurvedic doctor, one of the things that she told me was that I shouldn't rush. And I noticed myself rushing a lot. So besides eating and fasting and that, what's some practical things we can do to bring mode of goodness in our lives as devotees or as yogis or whatever, to stop that kind of like, because I'm just inclined to rush everywhere. Anything I do, I'm like, all right, what's the next thing? Because it's like there's so many, we're so busy and we have families and we have jobs and things. So it's like how to bring more mode of goodness in our lives, essentially.
So just like in our devotional books, Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami says, associate with devotees. Interestingly, the yogic scriptures say associate with yogis. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which I have translated in this book, he says, Maitri Karuna Mudita Upekshanam Punya he says Bhavanata Chitta Prasadanam. So he says, Maitri, make friends with advanced yogis. So I was very fortunate that I could read so many yogic books and I knew all the different yoga schools and especially people like Yogi Charu, who's like a very advanced yogi. So, and he's been in America for a long time. Right. So the kind of your food and lifestyle is a little different here. So I kept saying myself, and I have noticed that also, activities performed in the mode of passion and ignorance may look good in the beginning, but in the end, the results are not, we know it's misery in the end.
Right.
So, activities in the mode of goodness begin with proper understanding and they maintain, the results maintain. So, that's why one of the activities that we must do in yoga is Swadhyaya, is study these kind of scriptures and examples. And when we see devotees who have restricted, or yogis who very much restrict, who are able to fast, who are able to achieve much higher things by disciplining themselves, so that should serve as an example. So we should tell ourselves, if we continue like this, we may continue very long, but it won't give us the result of mode of goodness. Mode of goodness, when you do any activity, the results, you see a progressive improvement. Mode of passion, it keeps coming and going. It's like there, not there.
Yeah, like anger and...
Yeah, so these, and the modes control us. I think it was one of your questions, or no, one devotee had asked this question, that do the modes control us, or how is it? So basically, our choice is to put ourselves with our lifestyle, with our eating, with our thinking into a particular mode. The modes control us. So the results of mode of goodness, right? So Srila Prabhupada says also, if you read the creation, so the mind is created in the mode of goodness. And in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali explains what is a ideal mind. I mean, this is according to the Yoga Sutras. He says, a mind which is transparent, which reflects an object in its true nature, in knowledge, in Sattva Guna. So only in Sattva Guna does an object appear to its true nature. Like in this material world, we say everything is an object of misery, right? But it's very difficult to perceive it that way. Everybody is trying to convince you opposite. Oh, there is fun, right? Second, in the mode of goodness, when Krishna says, I am the light of the sun and the moon, I am the, intelligence in the intelligent. So, to be in that mode where you are able to see this as in the scripture, like as seen on TV, right? As read in the Bhagavad Gita. I want to perceive things as read in the Bhagavad Gita. But that's not going to happen in the mode of passion. So, although we know we are like this, but a little bit of change, because in the beginning, yes, we come and somehow or the other, like in the Bhagavad Gita we see, somehow or the other we come to a temple or become devotees. But once you become a devotee, we need to really become a good devotee. And that means keeping clean, following the regulatory principles, and understanding and practicing right. And offenseless chanting. And I've seen something very important, that one of the questions was Mercury retrograde.
Right, that was from my old college friend.
And when I was studying the book, Brahat Parashara Hora Smriti, the astrological book, that completely changed my understanding of astrology. He says, Parashara, Muni, all the 9 planets in astrology, the sun, the moon, each one is lorded over by an avatar of Krishna.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that.
And he says that.
That's like the Navagraha, right?
Yes,
yeah.
All the Navagraha. For example, Lord Rama comes from the Sun dynasty. So the Lord of Surya is Rama.
Okay.
Krishna comes from the Moon dynasty. And Moon controls the mind. Moon refers to the mind in Vedic astrology. Lord of Moon, Krishna. Similarly, Mars, the Lord of Mars, Narasimha. Anger, blood. Then there is Mercury. The Lord of Mercury is Buddha.
Really?
Interestingly.
What is Mercury retrograde? I hear so many people talk about it.
So basically retrograde, so it's a little complicated to explain.
Just
but
briefly.
So this whole Antariksh, so to speak, the whole star formation, every 24 hours, if you watch the movie by Dhanvir Maharaj on the Vedic cosmos, I watched that movie almost 200 times to understand it better.
Oh my God.
So really I watched it because I used to give seminars on that. So the whole cosmos rotates, but each planet along with it rotates at a certain speed along with the whole cosmos. It's not that they go in the opposite direction, but if you read the Surya Siddhanta, it is said sometimes they go slow, sometimes they are in a curve, right? It's elliptical. Sometimes when they are straight, they are fast. When they take a turn, they are slow. So it's not that they are going behind, but they are slow. So some planets overtake them. So there is they come closer when they get into an elliptical orbit.
Yeah. Yes.
But when it goes slower, it appears that it's going backward because other planets are overtaking them.
Yeah.
It's the way you look at it.
Yeah.
So that's called when planets come close to each other. So it's called as a retrograde.
Okay.
But planets become even more powerful. And these planetary formations have an effect on our system. Mercury controls, for example, our nervous system. If you heard the word lunatic, right? Pretty common. The data in Britain, they compiled the data of number of crimes which spiked during full moon and new moon.
Wow.
That's lunatic.
Just because of the new moon and the full moon,
Yeah.
people just go crazy.
That's why fasting on Ekadashi is recommended 3 days before the moon, so that your mind is calm during that time.
Wow.
In Vedic astrology, in Vedic books, there is a fast called Chandrayana, where you begin with the new moon, full moon, that is Purnima,
Right.
and you reduce your food to Amavasya, that is the full moon, and then you
New moon.
New moon. I mean, what do you call that? Amavasya.
Amavasya, yeah.
Means moon is not visible.
Right,
Okay,
right.
let's put it that way.
Yes.
And then you increase your intake gradually up to the Purnima. That is the
next
full moon.
full moon, yeah.
Yeah. So when you fast that way, it is said that purifies the sins of the mind.
Wow.
And we did that in our post-graduation yoga, and we found those who practice this. But it's not just fasting. So one thing we have to understand, when we fast, we should take time out to relax,
Right.
to meditate, to go deeper. That's when you get the real benefits of fasting. So this moon, now going back to astrology, so each planet has a different effect. So they say when Mercury is retrograde, you should meditate more, because the Lord is Buddha.
Right.
So Buddha is in a meditational pose, right?
Right.
So believe it or not, I told many devotees, when devotees come to me for astrology, especially married people, I ask them the first thing, do you read Bhagavatam at least 48 minutes in a day? If you really do that, these planetary effects are reduced to almost nil.
Really?
So any grahastha, any practicing grahastha, because 24 minutes is like one ghatika. If you want to do chanting or get some benefit, if you do like 4 rounds, 24 minutes, kind of, that constitutes a strong mental impression. When you do something for 24 minutes.
24 minutes.
When you do it 24 minutes, that's 2 hours. That's our 1 day's chanting.
Yeah.
It said that is called one dharana. Means a strong impression on the mind.
Wow.
When you are able to concentrate on one object for 2 hours in the yogic definition, that is 5 ghatikas, it creates a strong mental impression.
So 48 would be two of those 24-minute.
Yes. Ideally, 2 hours is good, but I know people do not have that much time.
Right.
But especially on the weekends, you could take out time. And if we see that as a very important activity to study the scripture, the Srimad Bhagavatam, any grahastha who can read Srimad Bhagavatam, who reads Srimad Bhagavatam,
Grahastha meaning married person.
married people,
Yes.
or anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
But especially those who are married. It's because their duty is to also read the scripture. And if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam at least for 48 minutes, remember the 10 avatars. Remember the 10 avatars of Krishna. It is said the astrological effects, the negative effects, are reduced to almost nil.
Wow. That's really interesting.
So I encourage devotees to read. So I give them a particular canto to read. For example, if they have problem with Mars, like I'll give you an example. My spiritual master refers many horoscopes for married devotees.
Right.
And there was one couple in Indonesia. They are happy now. And anybody who looked at their horoscope said the boy will die in a couple of years because of Mars problem. They call Manglik.
Manglik, yeah.
But they were brought up like neighbors, and they were friends since childhood, and they couldn't think themselves apart. They both became devotees together.
Okay.
And they wanted to get married. There was no other way they could think of anybody else. So my Guru Maharaj said, could you think of something? I said, just like only the presidential pardon can help a prisoner. Right. So when the Lord of Mars, Narasimha, when he is pleased, they could get a pardon.
Yeah.
So I requested them that you read the 7th canto. Read Narasimha Kavacha every day and pray to the Lord Narasimha to get freedom from this karma. It's not that it'll always work, but we can try.
Yeah.
I said, do this for 6 months, and then come back. Then let me check the horoscope again. So I did a prashna. The dosha or the negative effect was completely gone.
Wow.
They are now happily married, and anytime they find any of their friends having astrological problems, they refer it to me.
Right.
Because they saw the good effect, because they gave up hope.
Yeah.
And they said it gave us faith to carry on, and they have been married for like 12 years now.
Wow.
And I've done many couples like that, but I recommend them that as a grahastha, as a married person, married man has a lot of responsibility towards the society, even all animals, all creatures. So it behooves to perform all these duties. Like Srila Prabhupada says, any married man in his house, before he eats, he should
go outside
and invite. We don't do that.
Right.
But in general, to follow all the rules and regulations, we need to be in the mode of goodness. To be an example for our kids, we need to be in the mode of goodness. So all that comes with proper eating. Eating has a lot of effect on our body and mind. So that's why in my book I have explained how the body, how you are what you eat. Like you saw in yesterday's class when I asked this question, what's your body made up of? And everyone was trying to find an answer. It's elements and this, but it's actually food.
Right.
So if we eat in the mode of goodness, proper food. So food is medicine. So your body itself, what you eat is medicine. Where is the question of sickness? Right? So if you eat right.
You were talking yesterday about in an alkaline body, no disease can come.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit more about that?
So
Let's look at time check. Can you look at the bottom left? There's a duration.
1 hour and 1 minute.
Oh, okay, cool. Great. We have some time stuff.
okay. So in general, the more acidic your body, the more it's prone to diseases. For example, sugar makes your body very acidic. So that's why the companies introduced sugar, a lot of sugar, because they knew people's immunity system will be reduced significantly. So that's why today, when you fast, and you cannot just fast because people have an acidity problem. That's what we have seen because of the kind of foods that we've been eating and all the toxins we have been eating. So if you take lemonades when you fast, with that's why all our juices, with the chia seeds we put lemon.
Right.
So that makes it alkaline.
Right.
So alkaline increases the pH value of the body.
Right.
And it improves your immunity. It is said an acidic body means our immunity levels are very low. We are easily prone to disease.
Yeah.
So it's not that sugar itself causes you like diabetes or stress or something, but it reduces your immunity by which anything else can attack you.
Right.
So highly recommended that we don't use so much sugar as such. We try to eat, and they add aspartame and so many different things in today's sucralose. These are very dangerous foods for the body. So that's why today people are making a lot of bucks. These water companies are on alkaline water because the general food that we eat with all these sugars, it makes the body acidic and makes our immunity low.
Right.
So if you drink more alkaline, foods, it improves your immunity. So that's why in all our juices, it's all lemonades. And it improves your immunity, keeps you lighter, and all the acidic effects go away. Yeah. So
right.
Yeah.
Wow. So sugar. So for someone who, what is like the number one thing someone who's very new to like fasting and to eating healthy and who didn't ever think about that before? What's the number one thing they can start with or they can look out for?
So first we need to educate ourselves,
right,
and create a kind of path. Like I did not do it on an experimental basis.
Right.
So we need to really understand it. So that's the purpose of our book. So in our book we have explained very clearly how fasting works, what is like a roadmap.
Right.
Fasting, Ekadashi fasting, or fasting in general. and what is food in the mode of goodness, how it benefits you. So we need to understand this very thoroughly, right? We cannot just eat like once in a while. Chaat is fine, but when you put too many spices, too many this, it makes you heavy, it makes your thought process go, awry, so to speak,
Yeah.
So if you understand that food influences our thought a great deal, and if you eat heavy, you think heavy, right?
Yeah.
You are what you eat. So we need to, if we educate ourselves right, then the first thing that, if you look at any yogic text, the first thing that they do is cleanse. So first we cleanse before we start anything. Just like you want to do something good, some meditation or something, you take a bath,
Right.
you get fresh. So similarly, our internal system with all these toxins and everything that needs cleansing. So cleanse or fast. So in the fasting, you with these juices and everything, you detox, and then you can start a cycle of eating in the mode of goodness.
Right.
So you are very aware. So conscious food. So you conscious. So you know what's happening within you. So in this way, if you become conscious of what you eat, the way you think, you're chanting, you're studying, right? It all goes. So the more we are aware, and your sleep, even sleep is in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance. So if you eat too heavy, like Srila Prabhupada says, you need too much
Sleep.
sleep.
Yeah.
So restrict your eating, restrict your diet, bring it to the mode of goodness, educate yourself, read.
It's a good plug.
Yeah, and even this here,
Sure.
even my book, all the cleansing and all this, and my book is also, I'm doing an audio book, so that
Oh, great.
so that I'm putting out a series of lectures on this,
Sure.
so that sometimes reading can be boring, but you can just listen.
Yeah, it's very
and
popular
try to
these days.
read.
Yeah.
And these kind of things also need motivation. Like when I did my first 7-day water fast, the 4th day I thought I will die. And my wife said, "Don't worry, you won't. I know you." She kept me going.
Right.
And on the 7th day, when I completed the 7-day fast, and she really said, "Okay, now you go into smoothies for the next few days, then you go into soups." So she helped me a lot, because when we are trying to reset, we need some help.
For sure, yeah.
So that's why when we sell our book, we keep in contact with all the devotees. We have a WhatsApp group, so whatever questions they have, they ask.
Oh, that's cool.
So we make ourselves available,
Right.
and we try to serve.
Right.
Our mode of this, our idea of writing this book is not just to sell the book, but also to keep and help devotees. And we are also, for example, many devotees requested us, what about kids?
Yeah.
Because children cannot fast and this and that.
Yeah.
So our next book is healthy food for kids.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Superfoods for kids.
That's great.
For example, I'll give you just one example.
Sure.
So my wife saw that children love cookies. How about a nice almond? And there is a herb called Brahmi, which improves your memory.
I've heard that, yeah.
How about an almond Brahmi cookie?
Oh.
And make it nice for the kids.
Sure.
So in this way, we are trying.
It's great.
And we see what our daughter likes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this passed the test. This passed the test.
Oh, she's like your guinea pig.
Yeah.
Nice.
I said, "Mama, I like this. Okay, next book."
Very nice. I have a question regarding, so I'm working, right? So I go to work and I sit at a desk all day. I don't think that's ideal for a fast time. Is it more that, like, pretend I go on a vacation, like where I'm not doing anything? Is that the more ideal time to do a fast?
I would say the first time you do, because you're not used to it,
Yeah.
yes, you take a little time out to learn about it.
Right.
But once you know how to do it, once you, just like the first time you chant,
Yeah.
or you do something, you're like in a doubt. What is this? What is this? What is this? You
Yes.
have so many doubts.
Yes.
But once you have done it, the first time you do, yes, you have to kind of figure out what fits your body, how much water you need, all these things. But once you learn it, then you can do it at any time. Now, if you tell me to fast, even if I'm traveling like this, even if I'm giving programs, even if I'm giving classes, it I can, because I know this is what I need. So if I soak chia seeds, like one thing she made good, you can drink as much as you want.
Oh, it's not like a limit.
No. So you can drink. So that's what I learned from Yogi Charu. So he said, keep drinking as much as you want. So when you keep drinking as much as you want, then you won't feel hungry, number one. Second, you keep yourself hydrated.
Right.
And it wards off, because when you do a 3-day, 4-day fast, the first 2 days are the most difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's like withdrawal symptoms.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
So if you keep yourself full with these liquids, then the third day, it kind of, if you see any of those documentaries, is the first 2 days that you struggle.
Yes.
And if you learn that, and if you tell yourself, it's just 2 days I need to get through, I can drink as much as I want, and I keep my mind away from that, then you will, and you need to sleep well. A good rest, because the body is resetting itself.
Yes.
When you cleanse, good rest. If you don't sleep well, then you do not get the good effect.
Wow.
So good rest, body resets, and once you come to the mode of goodness, you get into like an automatic mode, right? So then you realize.
Yeah.
The next time you eat heavy, you realize, oh, boy, I feel heavy.
Yeah.
So you restrict yourself, right?
Wow.
So it's just once you get that feeling, you don't want to lose it. Just
Right.
like once you become a devotee, you feel all the good things.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose it, right?
Of course.
So yes, as devotees, as a yogi, a practicing yogi always tries to keep himself in the mode of goodness, because for the body to be flexible, disease-free, it needs to be in the mode of goodness.
Yes. Mode of goodness.
Yes.
That's the name of the game, it seems.
Yes. So it's a whole lifestyle. It's not just about eating or just about sleeping, but everything within all these activities, the underlying theme is to do it in the mode of goodness. Do it right. Sleep early, wake up early. They say early to bed, early to rise makes a man
Healthy, wealthy, and wise.
and famous on Facebook, whatever.
Oh man! On that note, that's all the time we have for today. But we didn't get into astrology at all. But I want you to come on again when you're in the area again.
Yeah.
We can talk a little bit more about astrology.
Yes.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much. It was super informative and super interesting, and I have so many more questions. But if you want to get in touch with Gaurnatraj Das Prabhu here, you can. This email is good.
Yeah.
GAURNATRAJ@gmail.com, or the same at www.gaurnatraj.com. It's your website. You can find the books here. So this is Krishna Yoga. Where can they get the books?
So the books are on our website.
Okay.
So this book is available on foodforthesoul.net. You can order online. And we are happy to report that we sold out our first printing.
Amazing.
So if you order now, you get the second printing.
Okay.
And this book just came, and we already sold 4 boxes.
Amazing. That's fantastic.
So
well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And we hope you can come again and talk to us about astrology, and you know the questions are on astrology, because I have a lot of friends who want to get married, and they get with somebody, and the astrology's not good, and
that's what I specialize in, marriage counseling.
Really?
Marriage astrology and marriage counseling.
Amazing.
Is my specialty. I have had many couples who wanted to divorce. I kind of try to see the astrological problem and give a solution by worshipping Srimad Bhagavatam.
Wow.
Bhagavatam can purify us to such an extent that when we get rid of Rajas, Tamas, and Bhagavatam is something that can save our life.
Amazing.
So devotees need to get, but it needs a little bit of counseling.
Of course.
And that's what I do actually.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay. Haribol. Thank you, everybody. That's episode 20. Thank you. Let me just shut that.